I'm along for the ride, baby. Take me where you wanna go. If it's wrong, if it's right, baby, maybe we go on and on, go on and on, go on and on, go on and on, baby, maybe we go on and on, go on and on, go I belong for the ride, baby, take me where you wanna go. If it's wrong, if it's right, baby, maybe we go on and on, go on and on, go on and on, go on and on. She was looking in my eyes because she wanted to be my boo. All the strippers on the low, Connie chicken in the stew. They been trying to get a bag and they know they got the night. I want to know, yeah, I want to be vivid in color, breathe it into me. I'm ready to be young, to be free, to be. As sure as silence breaking in, everything I am wakes again. I don't need to understand right now. Wherever the time goes, only thing I know, some fight until the last drop. And all the changes, all that remains is I'm not scared to close my eyes, not too careful. I'm not scared to close my eyes, not too careful. Wherever the time goes, only thing I know, some fight until the last drop. And all the changes, all that remains is you.
You know, I'm not going to disagree with what Saewong's saying. If the show is late, it is forever Van's fault from now on.
I mean, yeah, I completely agree to that.
Van's not even a part of this show.
Right.
It's his fault. Oh, man. Well, let's get this show started.
Yes.
Distance nerding.
Oh, on camera.
Yeah, we can't see you.
Ladies and gentlemen. Oh, man, that was great. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time. It is Thursday. It is your moment of therapy. It is that moment where I build Lego. Graveyard is carrying the entire show. The beard is captivating all the minds. And we interview interesting people. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the build.
Yes.
I am your boy, Young Phil. And this man, this handsome gentleman attached to the beard is Graveyard.
Yes. Look, James is in the chat. Welcome, James, to the show.
Oh, did James decide that he was actually going to be on like here today, like to, you know, just promote and be like, oh yeah, hey, you know, I'm gonna, so, almost like like supporting Pinoy out there, you know, supporting fellow Filipinos out there. I think that's what James is doing right here at this moment.
Oh yeah, and everyone's talking about their EDM and glow sticks and ecstasy.
Everybody is hating right now. Okay. Aaron Watson, the trance EDM reminded me that I need to go find my ecstasy. I think it's around here somewhere. Maybe in the Flintstones vitamin bottle. I'm just gonna throw it out there. I hope your daughter doesn't find that by accident.
Well, he's a big kid now.
Yeah. Hello, Lego lovers. How is Disneyland? The trance EDM reminded me Tiara. What? Okay. I need to take my glow sticks out of the washing machine. Jesus Christ. We demand James.
We all demand James.
What up,
all the
Say
time.
Wong? Rise of the Resistance, churros, fried chicken.
Oh, it says French chicken.
It does say French chicken. I was trying to help correct him. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you are now watching the build. Let's talk about keeping these lights on, right? Because that's kind of something we got to do right now. Ladies and gentlemen, this channel, everything we do here is brought to you by Poddex. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is Poddex. Poddex are unique interview, question, and episode starting prompts in the palm of your hand. So whether you are a new podcaster or an existing broadcaster looking to grow your audience or get more engagement, level up at poddex.com. Head over to Poddex. Actually, now just head over to your game or your app store of choice and download the app and still use the code nerding10 and get 10% off when you go to checkout to do anything that you purchase off of Poddex. Now Poddex is famous for their close-up magic. And just to give you guys an example, boom, there's the close-up magic right there. What is our question of the day, sir?
If you could be a PA to anyone, who would it be?
If I could be a PA to anyone, I 100% would be Ryan Reynolds' PA.
Really?
Yeah. I'm just thinking of all the terrible things that he would make me do.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I'd be a PA to James more so than I already am.
Yeah, I thought you already were James's PA.
Yeah, I'll actually do my job though as a PA then.
Yeah. I know, right? We'll throw it out there. You can be a PA on a horror film.
I've been that.
Yeah, I know, right? Let us know in the chat, guys. If you could be a PA to anyone, who would you be a PA to? James obviously is to himself, and anybody else in there, like chat's starting to fill up. Go ahead and just let us know who you would be a PA to. With that being said, if the channel is brought to you by Poddex, then you may be asking, what brings young Phil and all of the energy that he continuously has all the time? I'm going to tell you what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, young Phil is brought to you by Dubby. That's right. Dubby is a brand of energy drinks created to help focus, concentration, reaction time with no jitters or crash. I'm never going to get that right. Dubby contains no maltodextrin, no sugar, no filler, no artificial colors or dyes. Dubby contains neurofactor. Neurofactor is a neurotropic derived from the coffee fruit. It has 150 milligrams of caffeine and 3 essential B vitamins. So it helps keep you alert and energized, and just out there. And just the neurotropic is keeping your brain focused and whatnot. So it's great. It's great stuff. It's delicious. And I'm telling you all, you got to buy more of it. And when you do, head over. There's actually a Dubby app now, guys. So head over to your app store, download the Dubby app. And get yourself some Dubby and use that code nerding10. Get 10% off your order at checkout when you get Dubby in your life. So that is definitely something super worth going. Oh man, Kid Heroes in the chat, as if we're not going to talk to him in a minute here. But James Gunn, that's actually a really good one. Nobody deserves to be James's PA.
Because it's too good of a position. I think that's what Eric is saying.
Tater said, I agree with Eric. They're all saying that nobody deserves to be James's PA.
Well, I'd say James wants to be the Rock's PA, but the restraining order has so much distance he can be away from the Rock at all times. So it'd be really hard for him.
Again, you're not wrong. He definitely, if he had the chance right now, James would be Dwayne Johnson's PA.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, how many like pounds of chicken does he have to give him a day? Like 15?
Yeah, something about that.
Yeah.
Something ridiculously crazy. Yeah, something massive Samoa, something.
Oh, and by the way, I just tried the Poddex app on my Android. Doesn't work.
The Android? Work. It doesn't work on your Android?
Nope. Something went wrong.
Oh no, it works on my iPhone. I'll pull it up right now. Well, not right now. We've got to move on right now. So, but yes. I mean, I will pull it up at some point here. So let's get into this, guys. Our guest this week is a director, producer, writer, independent filmmaker, comic creator, and generally one of the coolest Pinoys we know, even though James would argue against that. Because James would argue he's the coolest Pinoy we know. But I mean, like, you know, I don't know. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the man behind Love That Lumpia. It is our boy, Patricio Ginelsa.
Evening, gentlemen.
What up,
what's a nerdtastic greeting to say? I don't know. What up, Doc? I don't know.
What up, Doc? I mean, technically, man. I mean, if we want to get into Eric Bauza being a Filipino that plays Bugs Bunny, right?
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Yeah, he's all over now, like talking about the whole Coyote versus Acme thing. You know, like very advocating for that release. So, yeah. Shout out to Eric, Filipino Canadian. Yes.
Oh yeah, right.
I think the correct phrase is "live long and let the force be with you."
Yes. This one, right? Am I doing wrong? No. Star Wars, right? This is Star Wars.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that's Harry Potter. Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, that's from Doctor Who. Just so everybody knows. Just
I prefer Doctor What.
How? Why?
What is going on here? And our boy Shadu showed up this morning here.
I'm like, I don't know how you guys do it. I'm just getting off work here, so while everyone's stuck in traffic, I'm with all y'all. So thank you for not putting me in rush hour traffic and having me join guys today.
Yeah.
I get around that by being 2 hours ahead. So
yeah, no. A lot of times I'm, and these guys will tell you I'm late to the show on a regular basis.
So you're the Filipino time one. You're the one.
100%, man. I grew up in a Filipino family, man.
Not me, no.
You know, I grew. My grandfather was Filipino. Yeah, my mom was adopted, but I mean, my grandfather was Filipino.
So does that mean you're a quarter late or half late? I don't. What are you?
Okay, quarter late.
Part late.
just always on Pinoy time. So let's get into this. Before we get into all the fun stuff about you and everything like that, we have some questions that we typically ask. Just to kind of get to know you and, you know, before we get into the story. So,
oh shit, okay.
If a movie was made about your life and it wasn't Lumpia, who would play you and why?
I have to give you the default Filipino cast. It's always Dante Bosco is always part of the whole. So Dante Bosco, he's actually played me before in my wedding video, so it's not a full stretch. And what would be about? It would be about
given that you had like his brothers playing your movie, so I mean, like,
yeah. So it's funny. So the name would be a remake of Easter Sunday, because I feel that Joe Coy's movie Easter Sunday, it's actually about my life, a LA transplant who's from the Bay Area, right? That's what Easter Sunday is about. But my version would be better than Easter Sunday. So sorry, Joe Coy.
Would you call it Easter Monday?
Easter? No, you would. You know what? We don't celebrate Easter Sunday that to the point where I leave. It would be probably a Christmas Eve. How about that? I'll call it Christmas Eve. That's a better. Or Labor Day. How about Labor Day? Because we're always off Labor Day. Labor Day. There you go.
Yes.
That would be the movie about Patricio's life is
Labor Day.
Labor Day.
Because I even work on my holidays. I'm saying like labor. It's like, why do we even call it Labor Day? We're always working, right? A side hustle, full-time job, part-time job, daddy job. I don't know.
Street corner.
Street corner,
Street.
or selling DVDs out the truck, back of my trunk. It's like, hey,
we know that's true because I have that DVD.
Story of my life, I'm telling you.
Oh man. So we have a segment on the show called Growing Up Geeky. What did you geek out on when you were a kid?
Oh, Transformers. That was like my road to everything. Transformers. It introduced me to Marvel, believe it or not, because Spider-Man showed up in an issue, Transformers issue number 3, the Marvel issue, and so Spider-Man. I read that, and then Secret Wars. So I'm not sure if you need the real answer, or if you just need me to make make up some funny answer. I don't know. That's my real answer. Transformers was the gateway to everything nerdy for me.
I mean, Strawberry Shortcake, My Little Pony.
My Little Pony, definitely, yeah. Visionaries, Dino Riders, Mask. I mean, could go on. Right? Anything 80s. I ate up.
Lord.
To make this even more fun, one of the co-hosts that's on right now, right, wasn't even born in the 90s. He wasn't even.
Nope. No.
How do I take talk OO? So I don't know.
I wasn't born in the 90s either. I was born in the 80s.
Right. So was I. I was born in the 80s too. That singles out what host I'm talking about right now, right? I mean,
I feel attacked.
No, he's not a child. It's
fine. Here we go.
Look, I'm legally able to drink. That's all you need.
That just makes me feel even older, man. It's like, yeah, I'm legally able to drink now. I'm 21. Like, God, you weren't born. You weren't even alive in the 90s, and
no,
you're old enough to drink now.
Well, the good thing of getting older is that you can buy shit that you couldn't afford as a kid. So that's why I waste all my allowance or my paycheck on like stupid stuff like this. Always on my desk.
Entire show about me building Lego, right? I mean,
it's. It's not stupid if it still brings you joy.
It definitely gives me joy. Like I'm just using this as an excuse to show off all my nerdy stuff on my table.
That's fair.
Mighty Mugs. You guys remember Mighty Mugs pre-Funko? Were you guys born around this era, Mighty Mugs era? OOs.
Actually, okay, hold on. This is stuff that you'll appreciate right here, right? I have a Kid Robot Deadpool Labbit.
Oh,
wow.
Kid Robot. Yes.
Right. Going a little bit further on that. I never opened this.
As you should not. You should never open it.
Right, but I have a Spider-Man money.
Oh.
Wow.
The money, MUNY, right?
Yeah, the MUNNY.
Not show me the money. It's
right.
Show me the MUNY.
This was the back in the day. These were like the build your own toy things, right?
More expensive.
Yeah, and he's obviously still inside of here. Hasn't been built.
Yeah,
I've never opened this.
You know what's at my parents' house is my Leonardo Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cereal bowl.
The bowl, not even the cereal, the bowl.
The bowl.
Cereal. Wow.
It's open. I use it a lot as a kid.
Okay, as long the cereal I own is the Crustios, the Simpsons one they sold in 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
I don't know why I kept it, but like it's sitting in one of my office too. Crustios.
I mean, I may have a couple of cans of Ecto Cooler from the 2016.
The High C.
Yeah.
I think they might bring that back this summer.
I hope so. Because I'm not going to lie. I probably bought 10 cases of it, and that was the only good thing come out of the 2016 Ghostbusters movie.
I never drank it. I don't even know what it tastes like. Is that lime or something? Or slime?
It's essentially orange High C, but with lemon lime in it too. Yeah.
Just citrus.
It's just citrus.
Citrus. Yeah. I thought it would have some green in it.
Oh yeah.
With slime.
I mean, there's probably a lot of food coloring,
I turn out just. Oh, never mind. Just.
Is Money Mayweather better than Pac-Man? Yes, he is because he beat Pac-Man. So I'm sorry. I see that on.
Oh yeah,
it's okay.
Stay long.
Sewong is a man of controversy. That's all he wants to do is build as much controversy
No,
as
he's speaking truth there. I was one of the dumb folks who went over to Vegas that weekend when they fought, and actually thought he would win, but he didn't. And then I had the walk of shame all the way from the screening back to the hotel.
No, Manny Pacquiao can
That was
win.
my walk of shame. That was my walk of shame.
Your walk of shame.
Yeah, walk of shame, walking back from a loss to the hotel.
And just imagine like the look of disappointment on your face as you're walking down back to the hotel.
Well, if you saw how much I bet on that game, yeah, you would
I mean, I could probably imagine it's probably the same look my wife gives me every day. The look of shame.
Can you imagine if they had odds and bets on nerd things like props? Like is a Deadpool and Wolverine movie going to be any great, or who's gonna, like if they had like bets for that and the over and unders, would you be a gambler?
I mean, in theory, Sony live action Marvel movies are a bet.
Yeah.
And you can always bet they're going to lose.
Do I want to spend $20 on this?
You're right.
Gamble that just happened over the weekend, right? Let's talk a little bit about Madam Web.
Who will actually watch Madam Web? I'm curious who's actually watched Madam Web.
Not Dakota Johnson.
No.
She hasn't watched it yet.
I mean, right when they announced that, I already tell me when it's playing because I will avoid the theaters that weekend. Even when they announced it.
If you want a theater to yourself, go see Madam.
Go to see Madam Web.
Yeah, that's called my living room. That's my own theater right there. Well, I'm just saying that if a comic book character has never had its own comic book, and I don't think there's ever been a Madam Web comic book ever, there's no reason to make a movie off of it, right? Venom, yes, because Venom's had its own comic book, but I don't even think did Kraven the Hunter has any. I don't know.
Craven's had his own book,
storylines, but I don't think he's had his own. But Madam Web had her own comic book?
No.
So is it even surprised the movie bombed?
Like I said, I'm excited to see Kraven be bitten by the radioactive lion and lose his Russian accent in the process.
The real Kraven's Last Hunt. There you go. His real last hunt.
His real last hunt is when he decided not to be Russian anymore.
Is that before or after Putin kills him? I don't know, or poisons him.
I'm pretty sure that's a storyline in there. It's like Kraven's Last Hunt. Putin kills Kraven.
He's just shirtless riding a bear,
Right.
Too soon.
Eventually we're gonna get the Sinister Six, but we'll have to call it like the sadly unsinister Six.
Right.
The Sad Six.
The sad
Six. Hey, if we can get them to get Morbius in theaters twice, we can get that Sinister Six movie made.
Because it's Morbin time.
Gwen Stacy movie. Huh?
So let's move on to stuff that's actually interesting. Let's get into talking about Patricio because he's definitely more interesting than Madam Web.
Again, that is a very low bar.
I mean, everything is more interesting than Madam
Well,
Web.
it's a good thing I came in after Madam Web comes out. I wouldn't want to come on here if Deadpool 3 came out already. I
have the full fucking weight of it.
No one wants to talk about me. We're just talking about Deadpool. How awesome Deadpool 3 is.
We just talk about Deadpool the entire episode.
Well, I know Phil would be happy. So
Yes, it would be an Oops All Deadpool episode.
That episode is coming in the future. Be ready for it, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. So on to you, Patricio. Tell us what's your background? Obviously you're director, writer, filmmaker.
Background, not ethnically, right? I think we established Filipino American, right? Born in the Bay Area. I'm a Bay Area kid. Now live in Los Angeles area. I started making movies when I was 12 years old. Like it was a bunch of us Filipino kids in a neighborhood in do the same. We just during the summer we would shoot movies, superhero films together. I think it's equivalent now. I mean, this is back in the 90s, so we didn't, I was just using my dad's camcorder at the time. Nowadays, people can just pick up their phone. So, but we would do that. And we would it was always a hobby, but I definitely made that my career choice, I guess. And I went to USC Film School. I went to my dream school at the time. The only reason why I went to USC is I didn't know George Lucas, Ron Howard, all these Hollywood greats went there. I only went there because I saw a movie at the time called Boys in the Hood, and the director John Singleton went to that school, and he was like a 21-year-old. He was nominated for an Oscar. I mean, it was crazy like this, and the movie kind of blew me away. So so USC became my dream school. Went over there, graduated from USC, and then USC then I interned for a film called The Mercado Family Debut, which ended up being called The Debut. Starring Dante Bosco, and that's what was really the movie that changed my being of what to be an independent filmmaker, because this was an independent Filipino American film being shot in the community down here, and that's where I met Dante Bosco and all these folks. That movie took 7 years for the director Gene to do that, and by the time the movie came out, I became the associate producer for that film. And then we toured around the country for 2 years trying to get this movie noticed, and lo and behold, Sony Pictures picked up that movie. So the fact that people can watch The Debut now, 20 years later, and stream it or buy it on DVDs, because we went on tour and we drove our cars like literally try to in theaters and get people to watch. So a lot of that, what we did on tour for The Debut, kind of really made me realize how the hustle it takes to get your own independent film out there, especially one about the Filipino American audience. And I kind of took all that and tried to do my own film, which was Lumpia, the first Lumpia movie, and then now Lumpia with a Vengeance. So I mean, I could keep going on and on, but this thing has just snowballed, and now it's a comic book. We just finished our Comic-Con Museum Blu-ray event, and I'm currently on a Kickstarter to now make our crowdfund our 10th, 11th, 12th, and 14th issue of this comic book series. So it's kind of, the way I say it is I'm going to keep creating until people are tired of it and don't want to hear from, because the Lumpia film and the comic books have all been crowdfunded. That's been one of the things that we appreciate that, since we're all part-time artists and creatives. I'm actually here in my day job, my office. So it's kind of, that's now I'm an independent comic book publisher, and I'm going to be at WonderCon and San Diego Comic-Con again. And so it's, I don't know. I don't even know where to begin, because it's like, as you can tell, there's so much stuff happening. Born here. Yes, I was born. Well, not born in San Francisco. I'm from here.
I mean, do you ever go look back at your old movies and take notes and go, hey, I should put this on YouTube and share it with the world?
I mean, it's funny you mentioned that, because I did. I was having lunch with an old college friend, and I had made a movie for the Filipino club here at USC, kind of like this again, it was like a Mission Impossible kind of thing. It was kind of like our yearbook video, but in college. And they were asking me, because it was on VHS and all that stuff, like, when are you going to digitize that? And I said, well, the trailer's online. If you look it up, it's there. But I guess they were, I mean, again, that and the high school and even my neighborhood, they all want digitized versions of that. And I told them, well, I'll get to it. I mean, I guess it's one of the things that I guess I'd want to do is archive all that shit, right? Because we had the VHS tape. It was shot in high 8 or video 8. That takes time. I did that with the first Lumpia movie, because that was one of the few, that old homemade movies got in a new audience because of this new film. So I spent all my time, and it's shot on camcorder. So it's like you're taking this camcorder footage and you're trying to remaster it. What does remastering mean? I'm just like, because you color it still looks like shit. You're shooting on shit, it still looks like shit. So it's like, people would say, "Oh, put Lumpia 1 on Blu-ray." I'm like, it still looks like the same if it's on DVD. I don't know why.
Well, because it was on high 8, so I mean, you can't go higher than the resolution that it.
I mean, I no, exactly, and I wish I could just release it on high 8. then it'll be like the pristine version if you saw it on high 8. Not even high 8. It's not even high 8. It's on video 8. High 8 was actually a bigger grade than the video 8. That was like, so VHS and super VHS. So I'm getting very 90s tech there, but all the O's are like, huh? What is that standard def? I don't know.
Oh, don't worry. As someone that
4x3,
as someone that likes to collect, I collect laser discs. So, and for me, I like digital's great, but as James knows, and Phil knows, I like to collect VHS copies of stuff though. So as new movies are getting made now, I like to go, hey, you can do it on VHS? So I'll buy it on VHS too.
but the problem with Laserdisc and VHS is that I'd like to play it on Laserdisc or VHS, but it has to be on a tube TV. It can't be on a. And so for so long, I kept my tube TV in one of my rooms for so long until my wife just said, "You got to throw this shit away." Because when you watch it on VHS, it looks so great. They're like, "Oh my god, look at the quality on this VHS movie! It's so awesome because it's on a tube TV."
Quality on this VHS.
Yes, it's so great. Yeah.
Oh, I still have a tube TV, so
you see, lucky you. I had to get rid of it last year. It just stood there. It just stood there, and that shit is heavy too. You know that you're trying to recycle that. It's like even the guy who's standing by the electronic waste guys looking at you. They're like, "What is this?" Like.
Well, because it's usually guys that are like Shadu over here that have never seen one.
Yeah, and they probably will
tube
take
TV.
Flip it. They probably flip it or something.
I've used the tube TV.
Okay.
I'm not that young.
Remember, he's in Oklahoma. They're a few years behind us.
Does the tube TV have like parts like a catalytic converter on there? Is that why people are probably thinking, "Oh, there's some precious metals in this tube TV"? Should have checked before I threw it away.
So how did you get into comic books? You remember like kind of your first foray into that world?
I mean, that's the pandemic. I mean, that was the beauty of it. We were still in post-production for the film, and our world premiere had been delayed because of the pandemic. And so while we were waiting, we were doing all these live streams like you guys are doing now, and we were trying to tell people, oh, hey, it's coming out. And then we got bored, and we just said, hey, it's a comic book movie. Why not make a comic book? And so we started a Kickstarter around 2020, around that time, and try to see if our the same if people were interested. Because that's all we only make stuff if there's demand for it. I think it's just been kind of like our MO ever since the movie, and so it got crowdfunded. And I think what's so cool about the first comic book that we did, because the plan was to release that comic book right about the time the movie premiered at the Hawaii International Film Festival as kind of a marketing gimmick. And what's cool about that comic book is that it's written and drawn by the same filmmaker. So obviously I wrote it, but my producer was an artist, Lawrence. Even my assistant stunt coordinator, Dante Fernandez, I didn't realize he could draw. So we were kind of like utilizing folks who worked on the movie, but then also recruiting folks who we knew and we admired. I mean, Will Patricio was an old friend of mine. So he came in and did stuff, but also like folks like Bobby Rubio, who is an animator and a director of Pixar's Float. He did a cover. So, it allowed us to nerd out a bit because, and you can tell by our comic books, like what era we come from. We come from that, the 80s stuff because we do a lot of these homages. But yeah, that first issue did so well. We decided to do a second one for the movie, and that got crowdfunded. The next thing you know, we're now doing spinoffs, and San Diego Comic-Con invited us in 2021 for the special edition, and so next thing you know, we're boothing now at these conventions. And I think the draw for us was that people liked our story, and we were coming from a different. We were going from movie to comic book versus from comic book to movie, and so that was kind of like a unique path that we were taking. And we're all cool. I think we're just a lot of us, we're nerds at heart. We're not making the comic books because we think that's someone's gonna buy it or whatever. I mean, we're definitely promoting a film, and we're trying to get it sold. So it was kind of a different mentality. Like we were already just having fun, and it didn't matter if we were because even if we weren't at there with a booth, we'd still be still there. I mean, I still had my professional passes. I mean, going to these cons is like normal for me. So so now I'm spoiled. I can't ever go back to how it was before, where I'm in the professional line at Comic-Con. I gotta get in the line. I gotta wait till everyone get in the line. I'm like, I'm ready in the exhibit hall. I'm like, I'm spoiled as fuck.
So in light of them being more kind of almost reverse order, where it goes from movie to comic book, so what is the adaptation process like then, from a film to a comic book, as opposed to
I'm a fan of adapted comic books. Like, so I grew up, when Return of the Jedi and parts, when they all adapted that to Marvel, Marvel stuff. But I liked what MCU did was they didn't do a straight adaptation of the movie. Sometimes they did, but they would talk about stories around the film, right? So that was kind of like the angle we took with Lumpia with a Vengeance, is that the first issue was called a prelude, right? So it was kind of like, okay, we didn't want to make a comic book that would spoil the movie, but the whole goal was to get people to want to watch the movie if they read the comic book, or vice versa. They've probably seen the movie and want to know more. So it was almost like watching a bonus feature or deleted scene. So that was always the challenge, right? The first 3 comic books were more like anthologies, but I think politically it was also a way for me to not just do a straight story. It was also a way to showcase different folks and different art, because I think so if you got any of the Lumpia with a Vengeance comic books, they're like short stories within the movie, but each of them had different visuals and different artists and different creatives. So it was kind of like it came more or less not because of the comic book. It became more about the creative community and the playground that we were creating, just giving an opportunity to folks who don't normally get this chance to write or draw stuff to kind of come in and play. Like if they could play within our rules and couldn't pay much, this was something that we would, it was a fun thing to do, and we did that for 3 issues. So it's always a challenge, even with this new series that we're coming up with. I'm always trying to see what works and not. The approach is so now they call this the DFU, the Deep Fried Universe. So and it's something that I didn't coin. I think that was really cool. With one of the bloggers said that we just took it and ran away with it. So in the end, we just want to make fun stuff. I mean, the comic books allows us to do things that we couldn't afford to shoot. We were shooting the movie.
Right, exactly.
Well, now if you watch the movie and then read the comic books, it's going crazy. There's like ube monsters. There's like the mix now. There's super villains.
Right.
Almost like if we do a 3rd film, it's going to have to be a $1 million plus. Film.
Right. Eventually, people are going to expect it to be higher budget than is possible.
Or we'll just say that it happened off screen.
Right. Just like cut to black and have sound.
Yeah. No. And that's the fun part, right? It's like I don't have to worry about budget or wardrobe or
exactly. You just have to worry about colors and all of that. Yeah.
It's funny because I've had conversations with Lawrence, like obviously off the record, off the show and stuff, and I floated some ideas to him, and he hit me up after and was like, so did you like magically read one of my scripts or something, or I was like, no, not at all, man. And he was just like, you're dangerously close with some of the ideas that you're throwing at me right now.
But see, I'm not surprised. I think a lot of that's how our creative meetings with my writers are like. We bounce ideas, think of the craziest stuff, like with nerd talk, right, and see what would match and stick. And I know I like to think I know the strengths of each artist now, what they can draw and what tone they take. So I kind of find ways to kind of make the story work so they look good, right? I don't want to ever make something and it doesn't match tonally to what the artist can do, and it just doesn't work, I kind of know the shortcuts now to what they're great at and which covers are good at. So it's a good collaboration. So I'm not surprised like these ideas, because the ube monsters, even if you've seen the movie, there's this whole scene with Lumpia and a gun. I won't spoil it, but if you haven't seen it, but like there's that was created. Like it sounds stupid when we were talking about it, but like but even the idea of a superhero who fights crime using Lumpia was something that my brother thought of when we were kids, and he was just joking around, and I took that idea and I just went with it. I'm still to this day trying to justify that idea of a guy fighting crime with Lumpia. But that's where it all came from. We're just all kids, and it's all fair and game, right? We're not,
Yeah.
yeah.
What's funny is the scene that you're talking about right now. Like, again, not without spoiling it. I nerded out hardcore when because I realized who that was. Right. And when that whole thing went down, I was like, it's Kuya versus Kuya.
Yeah.
I was like, this is dope as fuck.
Yeah, and it's funny because I mean, obviously they're older, right? So, but that we Justin Keyson, our associate producer, was mentioning recently on a featurette, like he was saying that we did No Way Home before No Way Home came out. So like all the Spider-Mans, we did all the Kuyas together in one scene. So so I don't know. I mean, I think someone even mentioned in San Diego, we are Shang-Chi may be celebrated as the first Asian American superhero movie. Not really. Like Lumpia 1 was really the first Asian American superhero film, right? So, and I didn't even know that. Someone had to like bring it up to my attention, right? Because it was like I don't want to blow up Shang-Chi's rain on his parade. But it's so I mean, for me it's just as long as people are having fun. That's all I care about, you know what I mean? And so, I mean, people are so serious about things, don't like the movie, and the movie's not for you. If you don't get it, whether it's the little Easter eggs, the comic book Easter eggs, the Batman Easter eggs, the Captain EO Easter eggs, then, the movie's not for you. But if you don't even get even the Filipino Easter eggs, or, even I think there's different kind of Easter eggs. There's the comic book nerd Easter eggs, and then there are the Filipino cultural eggs, right? Which I don't feel I need to do a Filipino 101, right? I think there's always kickback when we were making the movie. People are like, oh, we need to explain what Kuya means or what the Santo Nino is, and like, no, look, when I watch other ethnic films and I'm really interested in something I see, I just Google it and try or ask someone who's there.
Right, exactly.
I think audiences nowadays are so much smarter than we put them to. Like, if they like something, they'll ask, and so But yeah, I love the Easter eggs. So I'm glad you caught in the Kuya ones, because that was a wink to folks who saw the original movie.
Yeah. And I mean, the other things that I kind of picked up on were exactly what you're talking about is the cultural references, right? Like if you grew up in the Filipino community, then you get a lot of those jokes, right? And it's a lot of stuff that some people will probably looking like, what are they doing? Why are they saying what are they saying? Yeah. If you go back and watch the first movie, like we're gonna talk about like cultural stuff, right? Like the language that specifically that I'm forgetting his name right now.
Oh, Moon. There's
not Moon.
There's Jart. There's
the main antagonist.
Kuya. Well, there's Kuya, right? And Lumpia Man, Kuya, and Tyrone. You're talking about Tyrone?
Tyrone.
Oh, yeah. Tyrone. Okay.
The language that Tyrone uses. If you grew up in the Bay Area or around the Filipino community, that's completely normal.
Yeah. I mean that totally shows you my age. I think even the little subtle ones, like there's even one where they ship Rachel and Ross's name because they were named after friends, right? But then I added, and this is visual. This was like in the edit. We put it was Roz Rach Roz Rach and Roz. It was like Roz, and then they had the Lynn in the end, Lyn, because that was like my little poke is like how many Filipino women I grew up with who always had Sherilyn, Jocelyn, Terrelyn. I don't know. There's so many Lyns. Marilyn, so it was like, I don't know. It's again,
there was a Marilyn in the movie.
No, I know. And that's why I love the San Diego Comic-Con screenings, because before our screening at San Diego Comic-Con in Special Edition 2021, we were screening at film festivals, mostly Asian American film festivals. So that's the audience that you believe, okay, that's your core audience. The Filipino American, Asian American audience, they'll all be there to support. But it wasn't until that screening at San Diego that we realized a real screening, because that was a real like mainstream. It was like really diverse. But man, that screening was like had the most laughter. It was a very ruckus. It was like, and we realized like our audience was really just nerds, just people like, and like, of course it is. We're nerds at heart. Like, if you take away all the race and the color and everything, it's like we're nerds at heart. And so that's where we found our second life. And I always talk to independent filmmakers because we always rely on film festivals and tours to kind of get notoriety. We rely on those awards because we all just want to get, distribution or, hopefully credibility so we can make more movies. And that's where the blessing Comic-Con came in, because they gave us new life. It gave us a new way to promote the film. And it really, that led us to not only the theatrical release, but to the Blu-ray release and what have you. I mean, so, and that's when we were at Comic-Con Museum doing the Blu-ray release, I thank them heavily because it was them that gave us that mark, that avenue, that platform. I mean, shit, we were at Ballroom 20 in front of 4,000 people last year in July. Like, that was fucking amazing. I mean, how many times I've been in Ballroom 20 and see Big Bang Theory and all these other things, and now we're on stage. I mean, yeah, it's one of those things that you don't know, you don't realize how crazy it's been on this journey, and you just want to keep going. I don't even know what's next, but I'm curious to know what's next. I feel like I'm on the ride. I'm not even driving. I'm just on this weird roller coaster ride, and I'm just it's weird. Yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned how you brought in a lot more people for the comics, a lot more people that kind of didn't work on the original movie. So how is having those people now kind of affected how you're approaching the kind of your further cinematic projects?
It's funny with the movie stuff now with my writers. There's definitely there's other projects I haven't announced yet that non-Lumpia stuff I've been working even the last 5 years. So it has given me so I do definitely have a lot of my writers. I'll get input from it. Now with the artist thing, it's crazy because now I have folks that I don't need AI to like do these storyboards or pitch boards. I have a whole bullpen of Lumpia artists I can rely on with each of the different styles. Do storyboards, do mood boards. So that's always a great thing too. I have not taken advantage of that yet because none of my projects are in that stage. But it's great that I have that well to dig from, and now I have this whole community of folks that I mean, even with Lumpia 3, we revealed some concept art over in Comic-Con, and we're still trying to figure out how do we even tackle or approach Lumpia 3. But now I have more artists to give us to pull from what their take is. I think it's one thing that I think before is always just me when we were thinking of Lumpia 2 and trying to just tell the artist visually what I thought. But now that these artists and the writers are kind of really invested in DFU, like they know it and they imagine and they see things that probably I don't see. Like I trust them more visually and even thematically where to take this, and so but that's a difference really between when I was when you can imagine 10 years ago when I crowdfunded Lumpia Avenger or Lumpia 2 at a time and trying to figure out and trying to prove to people that this thing can work, right? I felt like I was spending more of my time trying to prove people it's worth it. You can do it. Just look in my head. It's there, and now that the movie's out and the comic is out, I don't have to, at least that part, I don't have to prove it anymore. I think they can see it visually that people are actually, but for me, I like to surprise people. Like, I think whatever you feel that the next group of comic books or even the next movie will be like, it's not going to be like that. It's going to be completely, I don't want to do things that, people will expect me to do, so.
Speaking of concept art from Lumpia 3.
Yeah. Lawrence, there you go. Yeah, Lawrence. Yeah, no, yeah, he did. So he has. So Lawrence is so fascinated with Akira, right? So to put Rachel's character out there on that bike, on that scooter, it's like, I mean, come on, Lawrence. I'm like, she's still 18. Like, I'm. It's funny because he'll always argue that it's too big. Like I'll think, well, she can't drive yet. No, I can't. And she'll, no, we need to go bigger. She can drive, and I love it. Look, I love it when my team can think big and think crazy because that's what the DFU is about. But for me, I always kind of have to ground it a little bit, right? No, I'm that guy. I'm like the dad now. No. What would Stan Lee do? Oh no! Don't kill Gwen Stacy. Don't bring her back. Or don't. don't bring back Phoenix, you know.
Right.
I think for me, I just have to kind of let it go because now people are, look, as long as people are enjoying it, that's all I care about, right? So I'll go with whatever silly idea they think of because they did that for me. So
The crazy idea of a superhero that beats people up with Lumpia.
Right.
and it's funny that I say that, and then when you read the new comic books, it's like I can't even. He doesn't even throw Lumpia as much in there anymore. It's weird. Like it's all about other things now, and it's like I'm always trying to think of ways. All right, what's the next generation of him throwing Lumpia? Can he kick it, throw it? I don't know. You know, it's like at some point I'm gonna have to change his the next iteration of Kuya, right? Like armored or something, or just like what Marvel did, right? Like I don't know.
Right.
Iron Man went through like War Machine. Maybe there's a Kuya machine now. I don't know.
Right.
And that's like one of my favorite things about like the growth from Kuya in the first movie to Kuya in the second movie is he's just
Different actor.
100% that too. But I mean, like, which again, homage because it's not like he's not in the movie.
Oh no, yeah, no.
He's just playing a sniper instead of himself.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, you know, but the iteration of like the growth of the character, it's like him as a character. You know, going from just throwing Lumpia to having like a spring-loaded Lumpia, like you know, like machine that just tosses Lumpia up to him so he can just throw it faster.
I mean, you know, I'm a big Terminator fan, so I always want to go future Lumpia and like have him like all, I don't know, like Terminator Kuya, you know, where the Lumpia just comes out of his mouth. I say, I don't know. You know, and he fries it.
He just melts into
Lumpia,
and you know.
Yeah. It's a Lumpia shell and it just melts, you know.
Right.
He's the meat. Kuya is the meat inside. That's how he
He's the Kuyanator.
The Kuyanator. Can I take these ideas? I'm gonna write this down.
100%. Any ideas that we give you here, take them.
Future graphic novel, Lumpia, Days of Future Past. Terminator,
Perfect.
I expect a check in the mail momentarily.
Terminator, Genesis. No, not Genesis. That's an awful movie.
Yeah.
No, Lumpia, Dark Rising. I don't know.
So this entire episode just becomes a giant NDA.
Yeah, I know. All right, everyone. By watching this, you're giving me permission to use any of the ideas. I'll sign up right now. I like that. James saying Raisin Man. Like I hate raisins, so Raisin's always going to be a villain.
Raisin Man.
unless they're the California Raisins. I have a
There you go.
For California Raisins. I love the old Claymate. Again, 80s. I don't know if anyone watched California Raisins and the old special, the Meet the Raisins. Oh, one of my favorite cartoons.
Yeah.
Raisin Man. There you go.
There you go. So with kind of overall what you said, you know, when you're writing the story for the comic book, do you have that scenes in your head that would look great in the comic and then translate perfectly to the screen?
Yeah, no, I always it's same thing with the script. Like I'm sure other filmmakers do the same technique. My technique's always been I always imagine the movie's done. So the comic book is done and I'm just really copying what I see if I'm sitting in the theater. Mm-hmm. So in this case, I'm just imagining what it would be like if I'm reading the comic book. What do I see? You know, so I mean I know that's a kind of, but that's always how it is visually. And for me, I have to kind of connect the scene. It's never been like a straight like act 1, act 2, act 3. Like it's not like a straight narrative. It's just I see visuals already on screen, and it's just a matter of me trying to make sense of it thematically.
It's kind of almost a theater of the mind thing. We were just imagining, hey, this is what I want it to look like, and then
exactly.
Yeah, you're kind of just.
But the thing is, what I'm thinking about is it's got to be crowd pleasers. Like I always think of the scenes that I would like nerd out at. You know, like I wish I imagined the scene when Steve Rogers picks up Thor's hammer, like scenes like stuff like that. You know, like those are the kind of scenes I always like the crowd pleasers. Like, so even with Lumpia with Vengeance, you know, it's funny because I won't spoil the Captain EO scene. Like that Captain EO scene was already, the musical part of Act 3 was already kind of in my head already. Mm-hmm. Even my co-writers were kind of like, "Oh, are you really going to do this? Is this possible?" But I was very gung-ho about including that musical scene in there. And I don't know. And it helps because, you know, Carlo plays Jart, actually even he's a singer. So I done a couple of his music videos to know that he could think of a song and he would be great visually as doing this Michael Jackson homage. And it's there in the movie. I mean, it can't turn out better than I thought. And I know some people are like, "What the hell is going on?" But I love it. I think if you're not laughing at that point, then the whole movie you just don't get. Because there's a whole kind of craziness that you have to kind of accept if you're gonna go watch the film. That'll smoke out. Just kind of get crazy with it.
I'll tell you this right now. I thought it worked 100%. Like that worked really well.
I hope it gets people who are seeing this for the first time to, go buy the Blu-ray or buy it on streaming. I mean, that's the sad part is that I can't totally. I love talking about it and enjoy it, but what I hope as an independent, what I didn't have to do is to think about the business part of it, right? It's all there's all the business portion in the back, and I can always go deep in terms of not only the politics but the business side of it. But it's always a hard thing to do, right? Like. Because people consume it and they like it, then of course we'll make more of it. So that's why this crowdfunding strategy has always been kind of like part of our MO, right? Because we're already doing this part-time, and so we want to make sure we work on stuff 100%. Like and it's funny when there's an audience waiting or it's crowdfunded, it makes you really, for me at the very least, like work harder, just to make sure that I'm not doing it to fulfill a reward. Like even with the movie, like we always said, no, man, we ran out of money, but we gotta make it better because it wasn't good enough. And the pandemic allowed us to improve the movie. Because I always think about why would the movie even end up if it was if the pandemic didn't happen and we premiered it like 6 months earlier, it would not be the same movie,
So kind of talking about
a little bit. James should write my next script, man. I'm telling you. James, you should just write my script. There you
go. So you're kind of talking about crowdfunding, sorry. So kind of how do you get your name out there to crowdfund a film, especially if it's a property that no one has ever heard of or has conceived of?
I remember when we were, 10 years ago, we were doing the Kickstarter, and at that time, Kickstarter was the big thing. Everyone was doing it, right? So, but yeah, when we decided, myself and AJ, my producer AJ Colomai, we definitely wanted to make our own movie, and we thought that let's use Kickfunder. If we were going to use any project, let's make it a feature film, not a music video and all this, because we wanted to move up. So we felt like we had some sort. I mean, we weren't like high level influencers, right? But we thought that and so when it came down to think of what project to use, why not a movie that for the first film, had a decent following or some kind of cult following, so we're not starting from scratch, right? So if it wasn't for us, it'd be people who would be curious if there's a Lumpia 2. So it's twofold. We were lucky because the strategy behind it was and it kind of reflects on our backers with Kickstarter, because when you look at, and I'm actually mailing out some of the rewards already 10 years later, but I look back at the backer list, and I would say a majority of them are people who I know, who just doesn't matter if I shot a drama or whatever, they would support me 100%. So there's a small portion of folks who are got your back no matter what you make.
Right.
I could make a shitty movie and still do it right. And then there are folks who did it because not because they knew who we were, or not necessarily because they were fans of Lumpia 1, but because they heard it was a Filipino American film and they wanted more representation. At that time, there was no Joe Coy yet or whatever. Like they just wanted to see that kind of movie come up, and they just threw their $5 or $10 or whatever it was, $100. So that, and of course the Lumpia folks. So they already have 3 tiers of different audiences that we felt comfortable to do that, because it's insane when you do. I mean, I'm doing Kickstarter right now, and I still feel the same way. It's like you're putting yourself out there, right? And it's like you feel you're completely naked, and your self-doubt and all your it just comes out. And so what is that? The Lumpia movie. I don't think a lot of people know about this, but even with that first Kickstarter, we were like on the last day, we were down like 30,000 on the last day. And we only raised it was a $50,000 goal. and I maybe 18. We definitely were like at least halfway. And then something happened that day where I don't know if it went viral or whatever, but I think there was a gut check with a lot of people. And then I just remember that day very clearly, like, because you get all the notifications and there was like $10, $5, all these folks I didn't know that started, like, it was weird, right? So anyway, that's I forget the original question, but yeah, no, if they're you just have to know your strengths. I always tell folks that crowdfunding is a good goal, and there's a different strategy with it that you need to employ in order to be successful. But the first step is to know your strengths, right? And you couldn't do it 10 years ago, but now you can just put it up, and before you launch it, just gather followers, So, and I think the thing is, you shouldn't launch a Kickstarter or crowdfunding unless you have at least 100 followers following already. I didn't follow that with this new campaign. I kind of just launched it pretty quick. So.
Right. Well, I mean, you kind of already have an audience too.
I do, but this one's struggling right now.
Right.
Yeah. This current Kickstarter, right? I mean, I'm coming here like Michael Jordan. Like I'm like 6 for 6 now, or how many? No, it's my 8th Kickstarter, so I'm like 7 for 7. So like I'm a perfect 7 for 7 in crowdfunding everything, and I put this 8th one on. And it's surprisingly not as receptive as most people want. So I chose Long Live Filbert. It's a very obscure thing. So I'm definitely getting away from the Pandit Crisis thing of our previous comic book saga. So yeah. So you're talking to me now. I definitely feel. Oh man, maybe I ran my course. I'm definitely in that zone. Or will it happen by Monday? Will the folks just come out and support? So I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
we'll see.
as of now, we're not even halfway through our goal. We have like 4 days left.
Well, you know what? I hope this helps.
The timing of this is perfect. Maybe I launched the campaign knowing that this was going to happen. I don't know. Not really, but
right.
I scheduled this way. I scheduled back in December, so I had no idea at the time we were going to do a Kickstarter. So yes, if you, I put my link here. I'll put it back on the chat. But yeah, you can even in our Kickstarter, there's a starter reward. So if you want to start from scratch, there's a DFU starter kit. There's a digital one and even the regular cover one. So if you want the whole shebang, it's all there I'll put it on the link. But but yeah, we only have 4 days, and just like everything is kind of crazy with I still feel the self-doubt creeping up. So I can tell you that even talking to you guys.
Yeah, I mean, I like your motivation in your stories, because I kind of have started the indie horror film route myself, and I'm debating if I want to even try to kick fund anything at this point in time.
Well, the good news is that horror sells. I think that's the one thing I remember even pitching stuff is like, oh, if only it was horror, it'd be. I'm not saying it'll be a home run, but especially if you were doing a movie or comic book, there seems to be a market for it, So but I think horror with a spin, and I think once a lot of it is really just sharing with your community, like, because if your own friends and family doesn't like it, you can't expect strangers to do it.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
you have to always test your stuff, and but I've seen it done. I've seen people who don't have any sort of, following, but the idea is so awesome that people jump onto it. And I think that's the key, right? Is, I will even argue that, for me, I always have to think of an idea that I'm willing to, give my precious free time to, and,
right.
Well, 10 years for this movie counting.
Right, exactly.
But I think that's the, because again, back to that, you just gotta love what you do, right?
Right.
That's always the key.
That's the most important thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So here's my pitch: Return of the Living Lumpia.
Living Lumpia. Look. We're joking about it, but I've always wanted to go more of a horror, more supernatural approach to it, because especially Philippine mythology is very popular, right? Our friends at Cuento and Diwata already play in that realm, and I've always been tempted. Who are all crossover,
right?
We're all going to be on the show in the next month, so it's like,
Yeah, no, it's fun. I know I love it because there are a lot more creatives now doing their thing and playing in that field and I don't know. It's I love it because it's collaborative and it's also competitive and it just makes you want to do your best at it, and that's what it should be. We should be. Uh, and look, if someone wants to make another superhero with throwing food, I'm all for it. Game on, come on.
Game on.
Yeah, Wayne's World.
Great movie.
Well,
So
passing me out
I
magic,
see you have it on your screen. What can you tell us a little bit about Kid Heroes?
Yeah, so Kid Heroes Productions is the name of my production company, but it's also the name of the superhero films I shot with my neighbors. So we did a whole I don't know how deep to go in this, but it was called Kid Heroes. It was a whole trilogy of homemade movies I did when I was like 15, with my neighbor. So like every summer we would shoot movies together, and I was such a Infinity Gauntlet Marvel fan, and so it was about 3 kids who protected their neighborhood, and so part 1 was against a bully. Kid Heroes 2 was about the neighborhood gang that they're trying to stop, and then part 3 was a whole found the ring and became this superhero villain, and they had to stop it. It was very magical, but so I mean that was for fun, and we would share that on VHS tape and pass it along to high school. Those were fun times because pre YouTube, I wanted to get feedback from those films. So in order for you to borrow this Kid Heroes VHS tape during the school year, you would also have to sign my slam book. A slam book was like this binder of pages that said best part, best scene, worst actor, and you have to write, and it proves that you actually watched the movie, and
Right.
and lo and behold, these folks would like the movie and they'd want to be part of the next one the next summer. So that was kind of like this whole talk about community building. I was doing that already when I was a kid,
Right.
Anyone who would do it for free, come on.
Right.
So you should put question is like, did you enjoy the sex scene? And they're like, wait.
And we're like,
watch this again.
What's that?
Right.
And it's funny, it was like a sausage fest. It was all boys, right? We were all boys. And then Lumpia 1, when we did Lumpia, the first one, because that was kind of like a reunion movie, right? From this Kid Heroes films. That's the first time we had to like recruit women. Like the one who played Kelly was someone I recruited from my church youth group at the time. Because it was like, it was weird to cast like one of our friend's sister or something. It was like we would go out and try to recruit folks who we knew, but not creepy enough. So the youth group was cool.
They'd be like, "Hey, you want to be in our movie?"
Yeah, Elizabeth, Besser, who became Kelly, and she plays that again in Movie of Vengeance. One of my first female characters. It's cool to relive those moments to see how far it went for us being kids.
I actually thought it was cool that knowing the story about like the first Lumpia movie and seeing how much of that cast came back to do the second movie, and just kind of I thought it was cool just like seeing how the majority of people from the first movie to the second movie didn't get recast.
And that was a grand experiment, right? To see because I had this dream of like, can I get as many of the non-professional friends, my actor friends, to get on there? Well, number one, convince them. Not all of them returned, but hopefully the major ones returned, and then mix them along with professional actors, and then with folks like Danny Trejo and like MMA fighter Mark Munoz. Like, would that succeed? Because I mean, it's kind of weird, like, all of a sudden you're a professional actor and then you're acting, opposite someone who just, who's really, who came from his work, working at the law firm or something, it's like,
right.
but I think that's what made us unique, right? I think once we got past that and everyone knew that we were all coming from this, place of love, I think because it came from Lumpia 1, we were excused from that. But that doesn't mean that we didn't have our own drama on set with some scenes, because they don't memorize lines. I mean, I don't mind calling Edward, who played Tyrone, because he would come so unprepared with a scene. And next thing you know, he has to act opposite Danny Trejo. So I told him he had to memorize lines. He didn't know any of his lines because they were so used to, as kids, when we shot the movie, we did it line by line. So I would, for example, shoot you and say, all right, your line is hello. and then I'll shoot the other opposite way. Oh, how are you? And so they're not doing a whole scene and we're doing a master shot where it's all editing. I'll tell them to do different takes. So hey, say how are you? Oh no, say it again. Say how are you? How are you? How are you? I'd have them just say the same line in different ways, and then I would cut it. So it made them look like great actors when you cut them all together. But that was the beauty of Lumpia 1, because you saw people from like 1996, acting with someone who we shoot in 2002, like 5 years later, because that movie took 7 years to make. So we would people would grow up and have long hair, they get chubbier, get skinnier. That was the kind of movie that Lumpia 1 was.
I wondered about that because you said it went from 96 to 2003, right? So it's
96 to 2003, yeah.
Yeah. So it's I was wondering, I was like, with the editing that went in on this, they didn't look like they aged that much through all these different scenes.
No, but see, I tell people every time that the movie was never made with the intention of having a wide audience, and the things we never finished shooting that movie that first summer, and so what happened was that I think once we cut a trailer and people saw what we were doing, it made us want to finish the movie 7 years later. But I think that's the one thing that I always tell folks, and even with Lumpia the Vengeance, is that just finish your movie. Like, we were going to finish this movie no matter what. I think a lot of creatives tend to have ideas, and then all of a sudden they don't finish it, or maybe they become half ideas. But it's like this in the film world, where you just want to get your movie in the can. So even if it was a comic book or something else, just finish it. I mean, I think that's the first step of accomplishment, because I think people tend to change course. But in the end, it doesn't matter. People hate it or like it. I think the fact that you finish it should be the goal, the accomplishment, because it's hard to finish anything, So Lumpia 1 is that. Lumpia 1 is that. I didn't care, if they didn't look the same. We were gonna make it work.
Right. It was like once you finish it, then you can start tweaking things. That's the whole.
Yeah. No. Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, again, for a long time, I never owned up Lumpia 1. It was one of those homemade movies that you would never put in your director's reel, So when I was trying to get jobs, it's like, what you've done in the past? Oh, I did a movie. Oh, what's it look like? Lumpia 1. It's so hard to own that for so long, and I know
it looks like shit. No.
Yeah, it looks like shit.
Which it doesn't. I mean,
there's so many continuity errors. What is this?
And it's it doesn't look like shit. I mean, the movie itself. What it reminds me of, and it's kind of crazy because it is you directed it and did it when you were a kid, it reminds me a lot of early Kevin Smith.
Yeah, that's a good compliment. I mean, I love Kevin Smith growing. I mean, the movie's based on Robert Rodriguez stuff too, but I guess I guess I'm always caught off guard when folks come up to me and say, "Oh, I've seen the original movie. I even have the old Kid Heroes VHS tapes." I wouldn't even. The mayor of Daly City, Jocelyn, went up to me because we grew up in the same area, but she's younger than me. She said that and this is a girl who I look up to, man. She's the vice mayor of Daly City, politician, and she said that she has original Kid Heroes VHS tape. That was weird, so for even with Lumpia 1, for folks to see that they appreciate it. Even though I tell them, don't watch part 1, just watch Lumpia with a Vengeance, and then watch it. Don't watch it. So my machete version to watch Lumpia would be to watch Lumpia with a Vengeance first, and then go to Lumpia 1, not go to Lumpia 1 to Lumpia with a Vengeance.
That's how I watched it. I watched Lumpia version, and then I watched Lumpia with a Vengeance. So
yeah, oh no, and we did that. I rarely see it 1, 2, rarely, and I got to do that a couple of times. One of the last times over in San Diego Comic-Con, on what's it, last past year? I've lost track which year we did but we did they did a double header of it now, where they screened part 1 and then part 2, and it's just so amazing to see part 1 and 2 together, because with an audience. And my biggest takeaway for any Lumpia nerd who's seen both films is that when I watched 1 and 2 together, it made me realize the real character that doesn't the real character is Jart. He's actually the favorite character if you watch it twice, because you see his character arc from part 1 and part 2. If you watch it separately, Jart's such a minor character, but it's funny when you watch it back to back. It's like him to go there, to go to the Maarte scene, it's I don't know, it's weird. Like it makes people favorite character to be him, not Kuya, not Moon, but Jart. It's crazy. So how can we stream the movies again? Part 2 for sure. You can watch it. Part 1 has an issue because it's so low budget and so low res that we can't even get streamers to accept it. So
You have to watch it on DVD like I did.
yeah, so you can only get an Amazon physical DVD. It's all on Amazon. But Lumpia with a Vengeance, I'm still surprised you can, watch it on. I can click on watching YouTube and just pay for it, watch it. So it's
because I have it on, and this even more to blow your mind, right? I have it on Apple, so I
nice.
watch it on Apple.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing, right? We're not streaming in the free sense like Netflix, where it's like part of subscriber. We're like on demand, so it's it's cool to be on Apple, and you see it there, and you see Danny Trejo's like picture there. It's like, oh, this is a legit film.
It's like, damn it.
Because of my DVD player on Amazon. I'm still want to buy a video 8 player. If you see anyone, I'm still trying to buy a video 8 player so I can play my tapes. Anyone have a high 8 player? Mine broke.
Yeah, I see them in the wild sometimes.
Yeah, but those things, if it's a Sony one, they break, man. That's why it's hard. It's rare to find something that actually plays, unless it's like a prosumer. Those huge decks. Getting nerdy. But those tapes, if anyone has tapes, you gotta archive them soon, or digitize them soon, because those magnetic tapes are gonna they shrivel. Like if you have any precious footage on there, you gotta digitize them soon, man. I don't know how long those tape those magnetic tapes and those tapes last. That's why I'm in a hurry to try to archive a lot of my stuff. I just hard.
For sure. All right, so do you have any advice for anyone kind of get into the industry overall?
So I always tell folks that I'm not in the industry, right? When I say industry,
Right.
like talking about Hollywood, the mainstream stuff, comic books. I'm not part of Marvel or DC. I would love to. I'm still trying to find my way, but I always told myself that you don't even need to be in the industry anymore. I think that's the one thing I always tell myself, like, it'd be great to be discovered and write a script for Marvel, but in the end, tips to being in the industry is really to hone your craft first. I think you have all the tools, more tools than I had as a kid nowadays, that you can even shoot your own movie. You could make your own blockbuster with your friends, and but like, again, filmmaking, especially filmmaking, even comic books, it's not a dictatorship, right? It's a collaboration thing. You can't do it by yourself. So a lot of it is like finding like-minded people, and that's where all the great things happen, when you collaborate with even one partner, even a team. Trying to find folks who can, who believe in you. So that's the key. I think don't see it as trying to pursue the industry. I think the industry will find you if you have that talent and the team. I don't know if that's I'm still trying to figure out how to get in the industry, really.
Right.
But Comic-Con's a good step, I guess.
Yeah.
Just make what you love.
Yeah, and Lumpia Adventures is a good. I mean, like, again, we always kind of, like, we're talking about it being an Apple, right? So for the first time, can you imagine, like, how many years later now, ever since I made movies as a kid, I'm a filmmaker with a distribution under my belt, right? Even Lumpia 1 didn't have like distribution, right? So I did that on my own. But for the first time, I have a film now. I'm a filmmaker that can say, like, I have widespread distribution. And so, a lot of that is the key, is to build from that, right? Because now there's metrics, there's numbers there that the industry sees. I'm sure if Lumpia with a Vengeance was, getting $1 million units on there, people will find that out, right? They will throw money at me to make Lumpia 3. I spoiler alert, we're not making, there's not thousands of people buying the movie online. So, but I think that's the cool thing, is that for the first time we have things looking at us. San Diego Comic-Con obviously is a great platform, and it's done us wonders to get us to the next level. So I say, wherever you are, what level, it starts with this whole finding your own team, right? Like, and finding and honing your craft, and then learning to take all the bullshit on the trolls, right? Because once you get a troll, then you know you're going the right way. Once you
Right, exactly.
talk shit
Once you
about
get
you,
haters, you know.
yeah. No, you want haters. And that's the thing, is that you need haters, because that means you're doing something right.
Right, exactly.
How many haters does this program have? I'm sure you have your haters, right? You have haters on you, right?
We've got a couple.
Yeah,
Yeah,
James is one of them.
And God bless the haters. God bless the haters.
When your primary hater is is one of your co-hosts.
So if you're seeing this on YouTube, hit the thumbs down button right now.
Right.
Fuel us.
Now we're not going to see it, but you know,
we're waiting on it. You know, that's the whole thing. Is we want people to give us negative.
right.
We never get it, and it's like, I know I say stuff that like some, especially trolls, aren't gonna like. You know.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I love it. As a creative, I love it, because then I can write stuff about it. I mean, I was gonna bring up something, but I don't know if I should bring it up. But so yeah, I'll bring it up. It's fine. So my wife, bless her, she was like saying like, why do I keep all my ex-girlfriend letters and love letters still? Like, I have this box, right, and stuff.
Oh, no.
And I told her like, well, no, because those are breakup letters. Like I read that shit if I need to tap into this whole. So if I ever do a dramatic love story where the guy breaks his heart or whatever, he's feeling the pain, it's because I capture so effectively. It's because I read a lot of those letters. So that's why, babe, I keep my letters, because I can tap into that creative. So
it's method.
So the trolls are the same thing.
Right.
The trolls are great, because then you can tap into, if you need to write about something who's
Right.
I mean, just
they're
look at what James just said about me. I'm going to do that as
For sure.
The best part is like, yeah, James, you like, James talks the smack, right? Because you can see what he just said right now. He says, "Can I also buy a DVD player on Amazon?"
I don't think you can anymore.
No, you still can. You
Definitely
still
not
can.
on Best Buy or Target.
Yeah, you still can though, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
You probably still can at Best Buy, though. Again, I do live in Oklahoma, so who knows?
I downloaded the Blu-ray app on my Xbox. There you go.
See, I have a PlayStation. I didn't realize Xbox is discless now, because like the PlayStation 5 still plays disc.
Mhm.
So I didn't realize.
Depends on the model of the PS5 you get, because there's two models of PS5.
Oh, I probably got the early one. I definitely have the early one.
No, they came out at the same time.
Really?
They had a discless one and
Well, I got the one with the disc for
Yeah.
sure.
because the discless one is like physically smaller. So like for people who like,
Oh no, I got the big one. Take a lot of space in my shelf.
Oh yeah. I know Phil has one of the hardest questions for you ever.
oh yeah, man, I'm gonna ask you the question you've ever been asked in your life. Are you ready for this?
You asking me? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's and especially being somebody who grew up in the Bay Area and lives in LA now, it's gonna be even harder question. What is your favorite kind of taco?
Oh. Well, now it's different than it was before, though. Like,
And we all know, just the warning out there. We all know if you don't say Trejo's Tacos, he's gonna come.
no. I don't. I didn't have the guts to tell Danny Trey, because I had his tacos before he came on Dave on the set, and I had it. It wasn't the best taco I had. It was okay. Sorry, Danny. Okay, so back in the day, this is my Lumpia 1 fuel. It was always the chalupa. I'm sorry, I'm a chalupa taco versus Chalupa Supreme. It's my favorite taco, but I'm a birria taco person. So I don't know how detailed you want it.
Yeah.
Now, are you a traditional birria guy, or are you a like beef birria, like how everybody's doing it now?
I never had it in the Bay. I never had birria when I was in the Bay, so I can't tell you how it was before. So I have to say it's yeah.
Traditional birria is goat meat.
No, it's not goat meat. Definitely not goat meat. Yeah, it was goat meat. Oh,
Get out. No.
oh, God, I forget. I changed my answer.
Well, I always have to
Chalupa Supreme. I'll be the sellout. I don't care being a Mexican pizza, Taco Bell. I don't know. I'll be
That's
the
why I always have
sellout.
to ask everybody because, like, you know, everybody's like, "Oh yeah, no, I love birria," and it's like, have you had actual birria? Is the question.
Right.
I did not know that. I should check even if the ones I'm eating is goat meat. I'm gullible.
Anytime you
okay.
anytime you get it at a restaurant, it's always going to be beef because of how common that is for, like, you know, for anywhere you go. Like, that's kind of like the common thing now.
Because Americans. So.
Yeah, because Americans sell it to white people, so white people eat beef. That's gold, right? But
right, exactly.
A lot of times, the only time you're ever going to have to be like, oh, let me check and see what kind of meat this is if you get birria at a wedding.
Oh no.
Why is that like pork's blood in there?
No, because that's what I'm saying. It's goat meat usually because it's a tradition.
I'm gonna have to double check then.
Only at weddings. If you go to a restaurant,
yeah, it's a restaurant. It's definitely beef, so I know I'm safe.
Yeah.
But like James here is a Dinuguan tacos, but I love Dinuguan. Don't get me wrong, it's weird. I love Dinuguan. I hate goat, but I love Dinuguan.
I thought it was funny the joke that you threw in there.
Oh, yeah, the chocolate.
He was like, he goes, what did he say? It was a Dinuguan burrito.
Yeah, what kind of blood is that? And he's like, just blood spilling out. And he's like, oh, it's the. Oh no, wait. Well, Danny Trejo also says it. Yeah. No, pork's blood burrito. Oh yeah, pork's blood burritos. Pig's blood burritos. Pig's blood burritos.
And the chef runs up to him. He's like, "You my man, man.
Yeah, you got me. You got me. You feel me. You know what? You love goat birria tacos. Yes."
I thought that was funny, man.
Favorite Filipino food in a taco is beef steak. I love beef steak. That's Filipino food. I normally would say adobo, but beef steak is my. Can people see the comments, or am I reviewing?
No.
Yeah. Okay. I'm like reading comments. Sorry, James.
So another hard question for you here. Who wins in a fight? Kuya or Snake Eyes from G.I. Joe?
Oh, Snake Eyes for sure. Sorry, the Lumpia won't. I mean, I think Snake Eyes will come in throwing Lumpia faster than Kuya can even take it. Like he already knows. Snake Eyes knows it's like he's not gonna come in with his ninja stars. He's gonna come in all Lumpia. Kuya will be overwhelmed. Yeah. Yeah, sorry, Kuya. Sorry, Mark Munoz. No, if Mark Munoz as long as Snake Eyes keeps his distance, because once Snake Eyes gets closer to Mark arm's length, he's gonna take him and do the freaking like donkey punch and everything. So yeah, once Mark Munoz and Kuya, Mark Munoz version of Kuya gets a hold of Snake Eyes, it's over. So if Snake Eyes kind of just stays distant and just then it's good. We should do that video. You know how they have those nerd videos where it goes Batman versus Deadpool or something.
Yeah.
Kuya versus Snake Eyes.
Snake Eyes versus Kuya.
We're gonna suggest that to Death Battle.
Yeah, there you go. Death Battle. There you go.
Yeah.
All right, man. So what's next for you, man? Like any appearances or anything that you have going on?
WonderCon's the big convention we're doing next, so was confirmed. So we'll be there. We also have a panel called Halo at WonderCon, which is our 4th edition. So that's Halo is a cool panel because it's myself with Quento Comics and Diwata, also the folks over at Dasig, talking about the our Filipino American properties. So we'll have that panel, and then we got confirmed for San Diego Comic-Con. We'll be there again in July. Haven't decided what to do, and then on the comic book stuff, well, it depends. If we make our Kickstarter goal, I have a whole comic book saga line called Longling Filbert, which is the next Lumpia storyline I want to do. I have really great plans for that. So we'll see. I find out on Monday if I'm spending 2024 doing those comics. Then on the film front, people know that we want to do Lumpia 3. We're still trying to figure out what's the best way to do that. But again, Lumpia 3 happens faster if folks out there buy the Lumpia with a Vengeance, either Blu-ray or streaming. I think that will those numbers will always be perfect ammunition when we pitch that. So I would prefer not to do Lumpia 3 the crowdfunding way if I if I could, more of the last resort. So it doesn't take us 10 years to make part 3, but
Right.
yeah, no, but again, I think I think we're reached a point where okay, you know about it, you hear about it, and it's really depending on the audience. We like to think our audience is bigger than it was 10 years ago when we were crowdfunding part 2. So could that be the same for Lumpia 3? So that's really what's on the horizon.
Mhm.
I definitely have other non-Lumpia projects I want to make. One of them is also the ones and twos, which is the hip hop comic book mobile DJ stuff. That's hopefully we'll get that out by this year too. So fun stuff. It's a lot of my projects, especially the ones and twos, are all projects that I developed initially for the film, and you know, why the comic book stuff is giving me an extra platform to play with, because I see it more as a testing ground. So if folks like the ones and twos on the comic book format, then cool, I can make that into a movie. And if not, then maybe I can readapt it and see what didn't work, and it's a second chance to do it on the TV or live action side. So so that's kind of like where I'm at right now.
That's
Like
awesome.
I'll make stuff as long as people love it, and once people get tired of the shit I do, then that's it for me. I'll just play dad and grow old.
I used to make movies. You know.
I used to make, I was at the Comic-Con booth once, grandchild.
Back in my day,
Yeah, back
Do
in
you
my
remember
day.
what a VHS is?
I made movies back in the day.
Back in the day, these Funkos used to be worth lots of money. People would be in line. Now, no one remembers what Funko is.
Yeah.
All right, man. So where can everybody find you, man? Where's any and like all your social media, everything that you got going on?
Yeah, I'm at Kid Heroes. That's my company. Lumpia, at Lumpia Movie. So on Instagram or Facebook, that's the handle for anything movie related. And then I might be doing a Patreon. I don't know. I mean, it depends. If you like what you hear or want to like know more insight, some of the shit that I don't really share online or what I really went through making this movie, it's fair game. I'd love to share my experiences if people want that stuff. But yeah, find me on Kid Heroes and lumpiamovie.com.
That's awesome.
And yeah, and then Kickstarter. If you check out the Kickstarter right now, and it's all linked there, and it ends Monday night.
Okay. Do we have a link for the Kickstarter?
I had it. Just go to Kickstarter.com and just type in Lumpia. You'll see it there.
Okay.
That's the easiest way. Instead of
Yeah,
all these handles, go to Kickstarter. Just type in Lumpia. You'll see Long Live Filbert there and all the other Kickstarters we have.
All right, for sure, man. Well, it's been our pleasure. It's been our honor having you on talking.
Oh, this was fun.
You've been great. It was amazing meeting you, man.
Oh yeah.
We still got a little bit to go here. Up to you if you want to stay, man, or we understand if you've got home stuff you got to do, if you got to go be a dad and all that kind of stuff.
I got to drive home. Sorry.
Yeah, but for the next, where are we at right now? For the next 30 minutes, we're gonna be finishing up some brackets and doing some new brackets here. What bracket are we doing right now, Graveyard?
We are doing horror survival games. Which one's the scariest?
That's what it was.
Yes.
So
Great. Definitely came on for the right one.
For sure.
All right, I'm out, guys. Have fun.
All right,
See you,
thank you for
man.
coming.
It was awesome meeting you. All right. Nope.
All right, man. That was.
Nope.
Ah!
Ah.
Hey!
Well, no, that was good, man.
No, that was a great interview. He's really cool.
I will always get myself off the big screen. You know that.
Yeah. I know that already.
All right. So to kind of pick up where we were, we are doing the most terrifying horror video game franchises that made you shit your pants the most. In terror. So kind of recapping, we had Alone in the Dark beat out Soma. Dead by Daylight beat out The Quarry. Evil Within beat out System Shock. Dead Space beat out Until Dawn. Resident Evil beat out Madison, and Silent Hill beat out Fatal Frame. So up next, we do have Amnesia versus The Condemned. You remember The Condemned? Did you ever play that, Phil?
It sounds familiar.
It was the box art was essentially like a wall with like an eyeball coming out of it. I'm sure if you saw it,
Yeah.
it. And Amnesia is another one of those games where you cannot fight back.
Okay, no, I know what The Condemned is.
Yeah, Taylor's saying Condemned because that is, I think there's two of them. Amnesia, like I said, you can't fight back, so it's always terrifying. But that's just my thoughts of it. But no, I agree. I agree with Taylor that Condemned is a scarier franchise than Amnesia, though.
Yeah, I think I was going to go Condemned on this anyway. So,
Well, what about you, Shadu?
Excuse me, I'm like Google both of these. Okay. So I have at least heard of Amnesia.
Yes.
So, Condemned, I never heard about. It looks interesting. I'm probably gonna go with Amnesia then, since I've at least heard about it and kind of get the general concept. So,
for sure. I know. I want to hear what Se Wong has to say because Se Wong, this is the bracket ideas he wanted was survival horror games. So, Se Wong, let us know what you think. I played both. It's kind of Condemned is older system generation. It's PS3 and 360 generation, so it's older now. So, Shadu, when it came out, you weren't, it was too terrifying for you at 6.
It would be too terrifying for me now. So,
oh, Se Wong says Amnesia.
Oh,
yeah. Like I said, I think they're both fantastic games. And this is kind of just going into like the bigger name properties. Like I said, I have 32 to fill up, so I just try to fill up with as many franchises as I can,
right,
to get the most bang out of our bracket. Right, so everyone no one gets a bye week, randomly. So, but
getting out of the bracket, that sounds very appropriate,
right? But we do have 3 for Condemned right now and 2 for Amnesia. So right now, Condemned is going to move on. All right. Now I have Clock Tower, OG, scissor hands guy with garden shears going around chasing you. It's a very Japanese series, and it's been remade, and I think it's a fantastic game. Versus, I know this is cheating here, but PT, which stands for Playable Teaser, which was going to be the new Silent Hill game.
Silent Hill game, yeah, the one that Coach was working on, right?
Yes. So the guy who behind Silent Hill made a PT game where the only way you're able to play it is if you have an original PS4 that you bought it from back in the day. You cannot play it anymore.
Yeah. They pulled it from the store.
Yeah.
Huh.
I remember. I never actually played the PT demo myself, but I watched the demo online, and it was fucking terrifying.
Yeah. So if you don't know what PT is, essentially you're kind of, the idea is you're going around a room and there's something always behind you. There's a woman always following you, no matter what. If you turn it the right way, you can see her. And people have been playing the game enough that they glitch out to see what she actually looks like when she's behind you. Clock Tower is started on the Super Nintendo and it's kind of grew from there. It's always one of those games that people always wanted the fans translation of because it's in Japanese, because originally not released in America. And it gave way to some future projects as well. Being essentially I think it's called Scissor Man. Like I said, he's chasing you with a giant pair of scissors. He catches up to you, you die. So think of kind of like Dragon's Lair, but horror-esque. And that's what Clock Tower is. What do you think, Phil?
I think I ultimately go PT.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Clock Tower is one of those games that was scary for the time.
Yeah,
but doesn't hold up now.
I think the whole with PT, the whole kind of the story you told me here in the it's almost mysterious in itself. That kind of adds a layer to it. So yeah, I'm going to go PT then as well.
And what was his name? God damn it! From Walking Dead was supposed to be in it.
Daryl
Dixon was supposed to be in that game.
Yeah, yeah, he was definitely supposed to be. I can't think of his name either. That's bad.
Norman Reedus. Norman
Reedus. Yes, our future maybe Ghost Rider. Yeah, Taylor's saying PT. I'm saying PT, but Say Wong's saying Clock Tower because
actually, and this is just a jump in there because you mentioned this, but the rumor right now is Ryan Gosling is going to play Ghost Rider.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
he's been like campaigning for it.
Really?
He really wants to play Johnny Blaze.
Do you don't think they'll bring Diego Luna back?
If they do bring Diego Luna back, it's to play
Robbie Reyes. Yeah,
Robbie Reyes, and I would love for him to come back and play Robbie Reyes.
Yeah. All right, so PT moves on, even though Say Wong says he likes Clock Tower because you can actually play the game.
You're not wrong.
I have a hard time playing it because I don't speak Japanese. So
Say Wong's like Japanese, Korean,
Right. All right, so that is the first half of the bracket. Like I said, I'm going to take the next week or two and try to find the scariest creatures from these games to have the scariest creature from a survival horror, and we'll put up pictures so that people can vote on that as well to make it a little bit easier.
Nice.
Next up, we do have Outbreak, which I am trying to remember as a video game what that looks like. Oh, yeah. It's essentially pandemic type things.
Yeah, it looks very tabletop-esque.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Pandemic, the video game?
Right. Yeah. So Outbreak versus every 6-year-old's favorite horror franchise, Five Nights at Freddy's.
Okay, well, at least I know what that one is. So, how could I not?
I'm
Phil?
voting for Outbreak because I love Five Nights at Freddy's.
I hate Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, it like
it's so reliant on jump scares because it's
right, and like the original idea was interesting, but it just devolved from there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, as much as I don't know how scary pandemics are since we've all been through one, yeah, I'm going Outbreak.
Yeah, I want to hear what Say Wong thinks if he's a FNAF fan or not. My guess is yes.
Say Wong seems like a guy that likes FNAF.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, he's saying Outbreak. I think we.
We've just offended him too much here.
No, as someone that grew up going to Showbiz Pizza and Celebration Station, Five Nights at Freddy's wasn't terrifying. The ball pit was more terrifying at those places than Five Nights at Freddy's.
which leads you to Outbreak. So
yeah, for sure.
That's how.
All right, so Outbreak does move on because it's unanimous at this point in time. Now, if my kids were listening, they'd be like, Five Nights at Freddy's. I said, my kids, though.
Five Nights at Freddy's, Dad.
Yeah.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
All right. Next up, we have The Forest, where you are on an island, and if you have a light source on you, the cannibalistic humans will come after you to kill you. So you have to be in complete darkness on this. Versus though, the internet's favorite daddy, Pedro Pascal, but he wasn't in it, but Last of Us.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
I mean,
Well,
as scary as that other game sounds,
Mm-hmm.
The Last of Us is one of the best storylines ever written.
It's a good story, but is it scary?
Yeah, we are ranking this on fear factor here. So
Yeah.
Oh shit. The idea of having to not have you have to play the game without lights in order to not get eaten by cannibals. That kind of wins it for me.
Yeah, like Last of Us is an incredible story.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really that scary. I mean, like the concept kind of is, but it's about as scary as zombies are.
Right. It's just a to me, it's just a different Resident Evil, but with mushroom people.
Right. It's a unique kind of science fiction idea.
Yeah.
About zombies, but it's not necessarily that scary. So yeah, I'm gonna go to the Forest, and I know both of these actually. So
yeah, I Forest is on my short list of games to actually finish and play. Go through and finish, just because you have. It's just survival. You really don't have weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And anytime there's essentially hillbillies coming after you, it's scary.
Right. I mean that I'm terrified of hillbillies anyway. So
Now, is that because you live in a place where hillbillies exist, or?
Well, I'm just scared of what they can do politically.
I mean, we've already seen 4 years of that. So
right, exactly. That's why I'm scared of that.
Right.
I'm scared for other people.
And that was just another reason for us to welcome trolls to the show.
Exactly.
Hey, you know what? Views are views. All right. So,
what is it? No publicity is bad publicity.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So I want to hear what Say Wong says as well, but the Forest is going to be moving on. Next up, we have Resident Evil, but with dinosaurs, called Dino Crisis.
Dino Crisis.
Oh, I know that one.
Yeah.
Versus the OG first survival horror video game. So I had to include this on this list. Sweet Home. The muse for what became Resident Evil. Yes, it's old as hell at this point in time, but the idea spawned Resident Evil.
But was it on Sega Saturn?
But was it on Sega Saturn? No, it's older than that.
Older than that?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
So we're going classic with this.
We're going the very first survival horror game. Yeah.
Gotcha.
We can't have a survival horror game list without the OG one. I feel.
Oh, you're right.
Wow, lots of Dino Crisis in the chat.
I mean, Dino Crisis was a pretty fucked up game.
Oh, absolutely, it was. I'm not denying that. But what do you think should do?
So I'm not going to disparage either of these for their age, because I have been scared playing Elder Scrolls 2. So
we were all scared of Elder Scrolls 2.
No, so I think just in the interest of my childhood, I'm going Dino Crisis.
What about you, Phil?
Dino Crisis, man.
It has dinosaurs in it. That moves it up a tier for me.
That's fair. Yeah, I'm going Sweet Home because, like I said, it is the OG, and it was the first one to test the waters with it. So they did something new, something that was unique. Video games weren't about bright colors and stuff like that. This was like you're going to die a horrible, horrible death.
right. It was a kind of a novel concept.
Yeah. So that's just why I'm voting for Sweet Home, because it is the OG one. But Dino Crisis does move on with that. Next up, we have Outlast. If you don't know what Outlast is, it's another thing of you are a journalist with a camcorder who kind of gets shot down, and then you go into a mental asylum filled with hillbillies and rednecks that want to kill you.
I'm sensing
Oh, that's, okay. No, I know what game this is. I know exactly.
You know exactly what game this is. I can't describe much of the game.
This game is so fucking weird, and so just ridiculously. I like this. I don't want to say scary. There's a lot of shock value in it. So there's, because you're in a mental asylum, so there's a lot of like fucking people getting their brains cut out with knives and shit, kind of shit.
That's body horror. That's kind of different.
Yeah. But this is going up against Siren from the OG creator Silent Hill. It is a psychological horror game. You know, and Say Wong probably knows it because there's manga off of it. So, like I said, Siren is a terrifying game too. But for me, Outlast is you really can't do much fighting back, which you have to escape. And essentially, if you ever seen the remake of the Haunting of Hill House with Jeffrey Rush in the late 90s, think of like that psychotic murderer trying to skin you alive.
Yeah. It's such a fucking weird game.
Yeah, but we did. Wow, 2 votes for Siren.
Man.
Wow.
Oh, James is saying stop cussing. Chemo.
What? Who's cussing?
Me.
What do you think, Phil?
So we're talking Siren versus Outlast.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think, like, on the level of which one is scarier, right?
Right.
And my gut wants me to say Outlast, but I'm just thinking back on Siren and like, I don't know. I like, my brain wants me to say Siren, but my gut wants me to say Outlast.
Siren seems like a more interesting concept.
Yeah.
But I think Outlast just would probably be scarier. I don't know. So, take my opinion with a large block of salt.
I am saying Outlast, as even though it is body horror, there are a lot of scenes that make people very uncomfortable playing it, and it's kind of like I said, psychological horror versus like Saw.
Right. Which I do tend to prefer psychological horror, but there are kind of pros and cons for both.
Right.
Right now, Phil, you are the tiebreaker. Are you listening to your heart or to your head?
I'm gonna go with my heart on this one, because I'm gonna go with Outlast.
You're with Outlast?
Yeah.
Oh, this is Chemo. I think Chemo took over James' account.
Oh, so that means Chemo gets to listen to me cuss the entire time. Great. Do not tell your dad.
All right. So Outlast
to your house.
Yeah. So Outlast is moving on. So next up, we do have the Alien franchise.
Okay.
We're not counting the mess that was the Alien game that was released for everyone. But the new Alien games are more horror, where you do have to sneak around and not get killed by the xenomorph that's always constantly following you.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're saying is we're not counting Colonial Marines.
No, we're not. We're kind of like Isolation. Yeah, Alien Isolation and Dark Descent.
Mm-hmm.
Versus Callisto Protocol.
Ooh. I got to watch Callisto Protocol. I got to watch you wading through an entire river of human excrement.
Yes. Yes. But I mean, I don't think any. I mean, yes, I'm not a good example of this. I didn't scream for the views, obviously. It was all kind of expected, right? Callisto Protocol is, the spiritual successor to Dead Space.
Mm-hmm.
It's by the same people. But versus Aliens, where you have, like, especially in Alien Isolation, where you have the xenomorph constantly following you, and it is driven by AI that's spookily good at what it does.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So say Wong is saying Alien. What do you think should do?
Well, they both look interesting, and I do love me some sci-fi. I have watched partial playthroughs of at least Alien Isolation. I don't know about the other one. Yeah, no, it's pretty. I think I'm gonna go Alien. I'm not as familiar with Callisto Protocol. It sounds interesting, but I'm not as familiar with it. So.
I mean, you can go watch an entire playthrough if you go over to Kyber Cave Productions YouTube channel.
I got you.
No, I mean, yeah, I said they're both fantastic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's kind of a hard call.
It is. It is. I loved Callisto Protocol. I had two different save files going. I had one for the gaming streams, and I had one for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it's harder to get scared when you're with a group of people talking about it. Now, if I was just playing by myself in the dark while streaming, it'd probably be a little different.
Yeah.
But I said it wasn't anything that was jarring. I have a xenomorph on my sci-fi leg.
Mm-hmm.
I love the Alien franchise.
Yeah.
I am going to go Alien for that reason, though.
Uh-huh.
What about you, Phil? Now you saw most of Callisto Protocol.
Yeah, I saw the majority of it. We had some pretty fun.
Oh, we did.
Fun interactions on that. By the way, this is where I'm finishing the build for today.
Oh, sweet.
So you got their whole kitchen,
and
the two of them hanging out on the couch.
Nice. I like it.
Yep. So, I don't know. I think I'm going to go Callisto Protocol.
Okay. That's it. Both fantastic. I was torn to say Callisto Protocol, but I had to choose. But Alien is kind of saying, everyone's saying Aliens, so that is moving on at this point. All right, I know we're about here, so we have one more to really get through this bracket here. We have Alan Wake, which is pure psychological horror, versus Eternal Darkness. Now, Eternal Darkness mess with you outside the game. It would say your memory card is corrupted on the GameCube. It would change and say that your TV has changed AV stations to a different channel. So it was fourth wall breaking you to say there's something wrong with your game, and it's messed up. And so, like I said, it's not just in the immersive of the game. Like I said, but versus Alan Wake, which is pretty weird and wacky, and jump scarish and body horror too.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Phil?
Um,
Alan Wake, the other is trash. Wow.
Alan Wake. So Alan Wake 1
Mm-hmm.
wasn't as much of a horror game to me as the second one was. The second one was very much a horror game.
Yes.
Alien versus Parappa the Rappa. James did not like, or he's saying that he likes Alan Wake and the other game was trash.
Yeah.
I was wrong, James, but you chose him as your heterosexual. I'm not wrong often, okay? That's not something that happens all the time. Phil being wrong is not something that happens all the time. By the way, Anthony Cabrera Reno on Instagram. I didn't realize because I just looked. I just switched over to it right now. And he goes, "Is somebody building a Lego set?" I love it.
Yeah.
Stop debating yourself. I actually am. So as much as I love the fourth wall breaking and kind of like messing with people, because again, I love that in games. I love when they did it in Metal Gear Solid. I love when they do that, where like it's like, is shit really fucking up outside of here? But I feel like Alan Wake 2 puts it over for me because the first Alan Wake, like I said, more of a detective game, a little bit of a little bit of like shock drama, but the second game was
intense.
It was intense, and I think that Unreal Engine 5 made the biggest difference in that game.
Oh yeah, it looks very lifelike.
Yeah, with the ray tracing and the way that the graphics looked, it's a fucking masterpiece, and it deserved all the nominations it got. So I think I'm gonna go Alan Wake.
What about you should
do? Just from what I'm seeing from, because I kind of knew about Alan Wake, I just didn't know a lot about it.
Yeah.
From what I'm seeing from Alan Wake, it seems to be a little bit more towards the kind of action side of things.
Well, the first game was. The second, more detective.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Eternal Darkness just sounds interesting to me.
Oh yeah, it was an exclusive to the GameCube, and it made a lot of people buy the GameCube because they had a straight up psychological horror game for the GameCube.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna go Eternal Darkness then.
Okay.
Pretty much everyone else is voting Alan Wake, though. I'm going Eternal Darkness too, just because this was kind of like the first generation of Nintendo game that wasn't cartridge based, and we all remember our cartridges deleting our save states. So to have that carry on to the disc generation, where you're not writing to the disc but to the memory card itself, that probably scare the crap out of a lot of people just for the internal thing of that. It's kind of like the commercial that had like the spider or the fly on the TV, and they had to pull it because everyone was hitting their TV screens.
I remember that. No, but I mean, again, like with that, I think Alan, I think Eternal Darkness is going to take it over because Tater just voted Eternal Darkness.
He did.
But I mean, the concept is cool. Where it's like you feel like things are being messed with on the outside. Now you think your game just got frozen or erased or something like that. Again, the one that always comes to mind for me with that stuff is when you're fighting Metal Psycho and Metal Gear Solid, and the only way to beat him is to just remove your control and put it into the number 2 slot.
Yeah,
and then you can beat him. Which is like, that's a stroke of genius on the game developers. But I mean, like, yeah, I mean, I love the concept of that. I love the idea of that, but I'm just thinking of actual pure horror and what's actually scaring you. Because I mean, I guess yes, it is scary as fuck for your game to see.
Right.
But I mean, like, you know, the guttural horror in the games themselves, you know, rather than it being like a what the fuck, my game just erased on me. It's more of a Alan Wake has freaking ghosts following you that scare the living shit out of you. So it's like,
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I said, you know, they I think they both stick with you for different reasons.
yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
so, but I
All right.
do think Eternal Darkness does move forward.
Just looking at the chat, I believe Eternal Darkness just edged it over right now.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's where we are then. Actually, we have two more for the, but out of time, we'll finish up next week. Before we get to the next round, will be FEAR or Fear versus Dying Light, which is pretty messed up. And then Dark Pictures, the season 1 of Dark Pictures, which is a fantastic game series, versus Capital D, which is an old school game as well. That we're talking like Sega CD, Sega Saturn, and stuff like that. So.
All right. Aaron Watson saying, to this day, the first Resident Evil on PS1 is the scariest game ever, followed by a close second in Silent Hill, which both have moved on. So,
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
We shall see.
Yes. Cool.
All right. Well, let's get into some pluggables, guys. Shadu, where can everybody find you outside of the distance nerding sphere, sir?
All right. Well, I am SSU Studios here on YouTube and on Instagram. I do short films, music, world building, and other nerdy stuff. I am also on Frey's channel, who is not currently here, but we'll get to that. We have a series called Classified, where we take your favorite pop culture characters and place them into their respective D&D classes. We also have a little companion series called Journals Classes, where we go through each of the D&D classes and their subclasses. We will have a new episode of Journals Classes coming out in the near future, and it will be on Rogue. I'm also in the Distance Learning Sphere, as you can see. I am on the Download on Tuesdays, the Build on Thursdays, the very show you are watching right now. And I am on Kyber Cave Productions for the Saturday Morning Nerd Out, and now the New Order.
Woo! All right. Graveyard, let everybody know where they can find you.
Yes. At 11 o'clock, you'll find me on the corner of 2nd and 5th.
Selling his ass.
Mm-hmm. I gotta fund these horror movies somehow, and that's the only way I know how. No, you can find me on all social media at Pod Out at Night. You can follow us on YouTube as well. We have the show Conversations in the Void. We talk to interesting people about their world in the horror. Last night for his birthday, we had Cam Smith from on the show. We did a Friday the 13th tier list, so make sure to check that out, that episode, and let us know in the comments if you agree with the tiering that we did, and we're going to do more tier lists as well going forward. On top of that, you can find me part of Horror Raven Productions. You can follow us at Horror-Raven on Facebook, and we are having our own separate podcast. We are doing trailer reviews and kind of like, let's say the download, but with horror as a whole theme, essentially. And we are going to be filming our next one about movie pitches, where we're going to be pitching with a roulette wheel to determine the person, place, and the thing, and pitch their movies live. And we do it and maybe make short films out of it. So make sure to check out that as well. You can find me coming back in March to Kyber Cave. I was taking the month off, except for the recording of New Order. So make sure to check us out when we come, or check me out when I come back to it. And yeah, you can see me here harassing Phil on Mondays while he's gaming, and see me here on the Build on Thursdays.
Here in the near future, you're going to be seeing more of those game streams too. So now whether Graveyard has time to be in those streams is to be determined. But also, he kind of skipped over it, and he normally doesn't. But he has a podcast.
I do. That's right there.
Yeah, they mostly pod out at night. Mostly.
They mostly
pod
at night. Mostly.
Because I was waiting for the tee up. All right.
That's it.
He didn't. He literally skipped over that he has a podcast.
Yeah.
Everything else that he does. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know who I am. I'm your boy Young Phil. Now our schedule is going to be temporarily changing. My schedule is going to be changing a little bit, so I'm going to be doing some more game streams over the next month and a half, as well as just kind of you're going to see a little bit more of me over the next couple of days. You may actually see me on the Saturday morning Nerd Out.
Ooh.
If Graveyard will allow me onto that. But I mean, like, you know, I'm sure
when I come back, I don't know what's happening until I come back.
Yeah. No, I figured that. But I mean, like, you know, again, it's your show. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, you know where you can find us at all the places. Connect with us at Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Threads, YouTube, Discord, MySpace, Vine, GeoCities, Friendster, Second Life, AIM, Farmers Only, Christian Mingle, OnlyFans. It's only pictures of Aaron Watson's feet and mandals and the beard. We will have a new photo set coming out soon of the beard being washed. That's the first time in 1,000 years that it's taken a bath. So I got the exclusive set for that, and it's going to be on our OnlyFans. And be ready for that, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be sexy. At distance learning, and of course, if you want to break up with your boyfriend, girlfriend, significant other pet, schoolyard bully, annoying neighbor, or just tell us how much you enjoy us, hate us, or wish the internet would consume us completely and spit us out at the feet of Cthulhu, send us an email at dist. Where?
No.
Nerding AOL.com, and we will read it on the show. I love that Shadoo's whole thing on that. Hello, Raggy. Hello, Raggy. Like, too many scary movies out here, Scoob.
This is Morty.
Yeah, Rob Reed and a Russie. Shaggy and Morty are very close in register. Because
they really are. Yeah,
they're both very somewhat high pitched, but also like kind of like breaky. Right, so like Zoink Scoob, right?
Oh,
and then,
yeah,
and then you do more like I don't know what's happening right now. Why the fuck are there like just things trying to find me right now?
Yeah. I gotcha.
Very close.
So now we just need like a Scooby Doo Rick and Morty. This is what we need.
Is that dog talking? Did it just talk to me? Wrong. Rare. All right. That's enough for me. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. It is time for the dance party. Let's get this going.
That's awesome.
Bring it around town.
Distance nerding.
Oh my God, it's Dr. What?
You did what now? And his sonic
toothbrush.
Yeah.
Now you just make us hungry for Lumpia.
Now that you've had Lumpia,
yeah.
Now you know the beauty that is Lumpia.
I do. It's fantastic.
Now you got to watch the movie. It's amazing.
Oh yeah.
We'll see everybody next week.